Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of
Ghetto.
My name is Hans,
I'm Edward.
and we are your hosts for now and forevermore.
Or until the neighbor's dogs comes and whisks me away because they are very cute and I saw them yesterday.
Or we
and they
just
moved in.
lose all recordings like last week. Because
who's the biggest one now?
that is literally like the worst thing that can happen to somebody with a podcast.
Yep, it really is. Thankfully, we do have a few redundancies in place. So
we okay, but wait, before we get into that, all right. If you are one of our longtime listeners, welcome back, bitches.
So,
if you're new to Gettle, welcome to one of the internet's best places for gaming, entertainment, technology, and lifestyle, news, reviews, previews, and Apple sounds all wrapped up in a wonderful
MacBook packaging box because those are tight.
Sorry, Edwin, I heard the charging noise and I was like, I might as well just incorporate that somehow into the logo. I mean, the intro. Now, speaking a little bit more on what we were talking about now. Yes, fine. Episode 51, season 2, episode 9. My audio was 100% corrupt. And as it so happens, it had to do with Mac OS for some very random reason, offsetting my input audio to maximum. So what that ended up happening is that despite the fact that, we have redundancies as in, the Team Link is recording, we have a separate recording as well, it didn't help because macOS had buggered it up on the surface level. So I lost all my audio, unfortunately. Edward still sounded lush, but,
as lush as can be.
All right, okay, let's get straight into it. Edward, how you doing?
I'm good. Last few days I've been waking up with headaches though. And
I like how you're always like, headaches. No, I'm fine, but. And then it's like, are you fell or you got bitten by something or like.
Well, at this moment, I am fine. What about you?
Yeah, I'm actually good. And when I say that I'm good, I'm good. There's no.
You mean it?
Yeah,
there's no caveats.
Well. When you get to my age, there's always a caveat. Okay.
Oh, okay. True.
All right. I'm glad you're good. And to those of you who are listening, we hope that you are all doing very well as well. Thank you once again for joining us for another episode. As always, we are loving the feedback. We now see that y'all are okay with our whole seasonal structure, or rather, because we've been doing it for so long, you're just going with the flow.
They call that night stalking syndrome or whatever.
Ooh, that sounds good, Edward. I think put a pin in that for a future episode.
Night stalking.
That sounds good.
Think that's a thing.
No, okay. Well, I mean, we've spoken about sleepwalking, sexsomnia, and now you're saying there's night stalking. So let's get that and find out if it's legit or not.
I'll put a pin on that. I'll put that on the table.
All right. So let's get into some reviews and previews before luscious content and then NSFW as per always. Right. First things first. A brand new series on Amazon Prime. It is called Them. And anyone familiar with Jordan Peele's work? Now, as far as I understand, I don't think this is Jordan Peele. I mean, I stand to be corrected. I realize now that some of the notes I made have not updated, so I apologize for not being as informed as I normally would be. And essentially, Them is an Amazon Prime series which has to do with a black family in the early 90s, I would say, sort of like between 1905 and I think the early 1920s, somewhere in that era, whereby so I don't know much about American history since I'm not American, all right? But I do know a little bit about like there were wars in the South. I think it was actually where the Americans fought against the British, I think. I don't know if that's right or not. Or it might have to do with it was basically when they like abolished the whole like slavery thing.
Oh yeah,
You
the
know,
Confederate War and stuff.
yeah, there
Or
we
was
go.
that?
So I do apologize. I don't really know enough about American history. So essentially, what I understand while watching this show is that it's about what happened to people of color after slavery had been abolished and a lot of the laws began to change and they were no longer racist by nature. Okay, kind of like the apartheid era, whereby people of color could only do certain things or could only sit in certain places. So essentially what the show deals with is how all of that has been is broken for good reason, and people of color are now able to buy homes wherever they want to. They can go to the cinemas. You get what I'm saying, right? That it's taking away the segregation. Okay, now the show in particular deals with one family, and they move into I think it's called West Compton or just Compton in Los Angeles, which is an area,
Yeah,
and
Compton.
it's a
That's
predominant.
the. Sorry, Ants, to interrupt, but Compton. That's basically the today is the gang areas.
Well, I
So,
suppose by today's standards it'd be like the ghetto or whatever. But back
mm,
back then, with how everything was working out, it was a predominantly white area, like most areas throughout the United States. And
mm,
so this family moves into this area, and they're the only black family on the street. And immediately they are not well received. All right, because white these white people be stupid anyway, and severely racist.
yeah,
So the show then explores that element of what it means to be a person of color living within white privilege, or around white privilege.
yeah,
Okay. And it does a superb job of illustrating how ignorance can really be so cruel, you know, and it portrays both sides really, really well. But
that's cool.
there's more to it than that, though. So initially, when I saw the show, I thought this looks fantastic. I'm all down to see how this is going to work, and how this family is going to thrive and build themselves up in this racist community.
Hmm.
But there's more to it than that. So I'm gonna initially say what I thought was happening. So as the show progresses, and as these the family has altercations with people in the neighborhood, and it's like such dumb things, but these racist white bitches have nothing better to do with their time than to really rag on and be horrible to this colored family.
Hmm.
And it's what ends up happening is you start to see how this family starts to see things, and it starts with the mom. All right. And at first, my initial thought was that this looks like the embodiment of black suppression. Meaning, and what I mean by that is what these people are going through, these visions that they're having. It's kind of like everyone has a mind. We all think about things. Now, when somebody makes
Yeah.
you really frustrated, you want to, like, a part of you wants to, like, maybe lash out and hit them or break something around you, but you don't. You might imagine it, you might think it, but you don't necessarily act upon it.
I
You
get that.
see,
So,
so my initial sort of understanding of what was going on was that
mm,
these were like this family sort of frustrations being personified in the real world,
mm,
but through like visions and things. All right. Now, of course,
yeah,
they didn't act upon it, at least not at the beginning of the series. Later on, it's a bit different. However, there is a very, not a big twist, but there is a reason why all of this is happening, and it actually has a very supernatural twist to it. Now, I don't want to speak about it because it will effectively ruin the show as to what it is. But
mm,
the way that they did it was fascinating and very interesting. I will say it didn't sit well with me from a spiritual perspective. It actually kind of like, if without hopefully being too spoilery, I don't like things to do with ghosts and demons, and I feel things like that. They don't sit well with me. Like it freaks me out. Like I'm already somebody who doesn't like being in the dark and having to go upstairs. Okay, so
Mm.
you know, so I didn't expect that element of the show, and
Mm.
it really was something. Now, that aside, I really want to speak about how absolutely excellent the cast were. In particular, the family, which was Deborah Ayorinde, Ashley Thomas, Shahadi Wright Joseph, and Melody Hurd. Just absolutely phenomenal acting from everybody. So, in addition to them, it's also Alison Pull as like the super racist white hoe in the street, and Ryan Quanten, who you all know him
True
from
Blood.
True Blood days, yeah.
Yep.
And he also has this twist that you're kind of like, whoa, but it's all got to do with like people get their just desserts, okay? You want to be a racist, but you're gonna get what comes to you. Anyway, so it's really look. The reason why I bring up the whole American standpoint is because Edward and I are South African, so our country has its own heritage in terms of the apartheid era and so on and so forth. Now, I'm very unfamiliar with the American history, and it I am ignorant of what happened there.
Mhm.
But watching the show, I kind of feel that they possibly did a good job of actually explaining certain things. Like they cover things like blackface, which is something, well, that I don't think we've had in South Africa. I'm not aware of it happening here. Maybe it did in the really, really early 20s. I don't know. But they speak about, or they showcase that and why it's not appropriate today. Little things like
Mhm.
that. It's very American in that sense, but
That's
so,
cool.
so, so well done. And the
Mm.
cinematography, my goodness, let me tell you, probably one of the most incredibly shot shows that I've seen in a very, very, very long time. Especially like the dichotomies between the characters and the way things are shown off and how the camera angles give you that sense of dread,
Mm.
but purely because it's a camera angle, not because there's anything there. It is absolutely phenomenal in that sense. And it's a very, very good TV series, I must admit. Um, I do recommend it. Even though like I said, the supernatural horror element really did not sit well with me. But the rest of it, though, the exploration of like the race debate and so on and so forth, it's just so, so, so well done. And I will also say that the show is not for sensitive viewers, so they do deal with a lot to do with death, and there's rape, there's physical violence. It's very intense, and there's also a very perverse religious element to it. So it's good though. It's uh, people need to watch it just for the story, and how this family overcomes. It's good. It's really good.
That is good, though.
I hope I did it justice explaining it.
Well, let me put it this way. The whole American segregation thing is a big topic that interests me a lot. Even though I know nothing about it, as you said, I am ignorant as a
Yes.
South African. But one of the things that drew me in for Lovecraft County or country, sorry, is that whole aspect. And just by the way you described it now, it does sound super interesting.
You
And
know what?
this,
The more I watched of this show, I kind of felt I would love a South African version of this. Because
mm,
we have a very troubled and rich history.
yeah,
In addition to that, this show them also explores American folklore to an extent. All right, and I would love to see that from a South African perspective. Where we look at African heritage and African folklore. Look, I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to spoil it. All right,
No, I
but
get that.
like I would be interested in seeing them from a South African perspective. You know, I think it would be super interesting.
There's a
Plus
free pitch to
it
anyone
also
listening.
it also will bring light to what happened in that era. It's just,
Yeah.
look. It goes without saying that the show is OTT to an extent. Like
Mhm.
obviously the things that they show, but that's because it's a TV series, but it's so good.
Okay. That's. I think that's going on my watch list. So
Now, moving on to something that's not so good. Raya and the Last Dragon
it's not
from
good.
Disney.
I heard that
Uh,
it's one of the
uh,
greatest ones. No.
no, I disagree. I am a fan of Disney animation.
Hmm.
In particular, Pixar animation, especially since we're in the age of CGI.
Yeah.
But I really found Raya and the Last Dragon to be average. It's not all that good. I found the humor to be very flat, very I wouldn't say puerile because it wasn't really dirty, but very much for children.
Mm.
Like as an adult watching, I was like, that's predictable. Knew this was going to happen. It was quite obvious that was going to be the narrative arc. There's no real surprises. I will admit, it is beautifully done. So the visuals surprised me the most because there were actually certain parts of the film which looked photorealistic, despite the fact that the entire movie is CGI.
That's
So
cool, actually.
now, of course, when I say that, I don't mean in terms of like the dragon or the characters. I mean the actual scenery. The deserts and the water. Things like that looked absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very much a kids movie. I know that animation is generally for children, but you do get certain animated movies that cater to both. Pixar movies are very good at doing that. And the next one on my list is actually Soul. So I'll let you know what that's like hopefully next week.
Oh.
So
Yeah.
yeah, Raya and the Lost Dragon is okay. I didn't think it was all that great. Like I said, extremely predictable. A lot of the stuff you could guess and you know what's going to happen. But beautiful looking. If you've got children, watch it. You'd probably enjoy it then.
Where does it fall on the EGAD scale?
Average.
Okay, I thought as much. Yeah.
And them, I would say good, bordering on exceptional.
Okay.
I was too, it freaked me out too much for me to give it exceptional.
That happens if you're not
I don't-
comfortable watching something.
I wasn't. I just wasn't. Like I couldn't.
Yeah.
There were times where I had to, I know that sounds so bad, but I had to look away. I was so afraid of what was going to come up on the screen, like behind the character, and then eventually towards the later episodes, it 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 sort of when you understand what it is, and the mystery is sort of gone. I wasn't afraid
Mm.
anymore. But then it
Makes
didn't
sense.
sit nicely with me from a different perspective, and that's
Yeah.
from a religious
A
perspective.
deeper
All right,
perspective. That's cool. That's cool.
and I don't mind admitting that, and and I don't mean that in a biased way. I just mean that the show does touch on some truths of how some people abuse religion, for their own gain, and it is awful that people have used the Bible many times in the past to encourage racism. And it's really not right because, in my personal opinion, if you really read it, okay, specifically from the point of Jesus Christ, it means something entirely different. I'm not going to go into that, but that's
Yeah.
just, it, that part also just, because I mean, yes, look, from a creative perspective, it's excellent. What can I say? It's a really good show.
That's good. A show is good when you feel uncomfortable watching it, but you still enjoy it.
Well, this was the thing. This was the thing. So now I understand the uncomfortableness that I was feeling had nothing to do with what the racism part of it.
Of course,
I mean, that
it
wasn't that. It
happens.
was really
Well,
that religious part. That was like
Yeah,
And
the
then
more
also,
spiritual
oh my
aspect.
goodness, there was a scene where the character Lucky, what she goes through. Good grief, Edward. That was just, it brought back memories of when we were attacked last year. So, that was also very difficult to watch. But then
Yeah.
again, at the same time, it was needed in order to push the story forward.
Yeah.
Anyway,
good.
so now, Ed, you mentioned Monster Hunter Rise last week, and you did
Yes.
say that you wanted more time to sort of get your thoughts around it. Now,
Yeah.
we're here a week later. Has anything changed? Is it good? I know that one of our listeners actually messaged in and was like, yeah, you can spend 400 hours in the game and it's got like a 10-hour story. So
Yeah. It's good. It's not exceptional for a number of reasons that I list in my review. The major reason being just the fact that it's I don't feel like the Switch is made for the game. Rather, the game is made for the Switch. I don't feel it's a good platform for the game. It feels...
Yeah.
I don't know how to describe it. But it feels like the game shouldn't be there. It feels like the game should be on a big platform like Xbox or PC or the like. And that's one of the bigger reasons. It just feels wrong.
How about... So your thoughts haven't changed much, which is good.
Not much.
How about we put a peg in this for now until you play it on PC? And then I would genuinely be curious to know which platform you... Okay, it's obvious which platform you're gonna
Yeah, I'm gonna buy it. That's without question.
No, I mean which platform you would recommend. I'm gonna assume it's gonna be PC. Yes. But I'm genuinely curious to know like how different it actually is.
Yeah.
Or would be, you know?
I am actually very curious as well. I think many of the things will not only feel different but look different as well, to be fair. But yeah, my thoughts haven't changed much beyond that. I did write a weapon guide for new beginners and returning veterans, just to get get them rolling and in terms of what weapons to expect in the game. Long story short, it's the same weapons as in World, just with new Silkbind attacks, which is what the wire bug is for.
Okay, that's awesome. And as always, we will link to any reviews or articles that we generally discuss whenever possible. So, looking for a Monster Hunter Rise weapons guide? We got you.
Yeah, we got you covered.
Well, Edward.
Yeah.
Speaking of... Well, we aren't actually speaking of secret languages, but this is what we're going to speak about now. So,
hey.
Did you know that elephants have a secret language?
I did not, to be frank.
So this is absolutely incredible new research. And it has to do with the fact that, I mean, look, all of us know elephants, right? Big, beautiful, hulking, dinosaur-like creatures. I'm coming back to this dinosaur element.
Scary creatures.
No. Okay, well,
I
guess because they're so big.
Yes.
Now, we're all aware of how, they make trumpeting noises and, you're like, oh, that's an elephant that's shouting or whatever the case is, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Well, as it so happens, elephants also have a very unique rumble that is so low it is inaudible to humans. It's actually under the 20 hertz band.
That's cool.
And researchers actually discovered it by accident because they noticed how elephants were managing to communicate without audible communication, or at least audible to us.
Yeah.
And my understanding is it's called infrasonic. So it's whereby they actually do such a low rumbling that elephants in the immediate vicinity can hear them. But because it's at such a low frequency, it can actually span over kilometers.
That's amazing.
Not just in the general vicinity, but also elephants further away. And the understanding is that an elephant's in a parade, because that's actually what a group of elephants is called. How cool is that?
I didn't know that as well. A parade of elephants. That's cool.
A parade of elephants is cool, right? Anyway.
Yeah.
As it so happens, they have a call specifically for humans. Hey?
The white skins.
so it's actually, it's interesting you say that, because what the scientists found is that elephants can actually distinguish racial ethnicity in
amazing.
Humans.
That's cool.
And different ethnicities actually have different vibrational tones. And I know, right? It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. And
that's
so look. All of this. No, elephants are not racist. Before
No. I did not think that.
Look, all of this comes down to essentially how this was discovered, and this is the most fascinating thing about it, is scientists were looking at how are these elephants stopping bee attacks. So, yes, an elephant might be big, it might look strong, but they're actually highly susceptible to bee stings, especially on their trunks, which are very sensitive, and around the eyes and that. Now, they're not like us with hands that can just, wipe the stuff off or whatever the case is.
Mm-hmm.
And it just so happens that they have this tone to warn other elephants about bees. And then they have a movement which shakes their head to get the bees off of them. So through identifying that, they then discovered that there was a certain tone, another infrasonic tone, that only occurred when tribal people who live in the same area were nearby. So what the scientists did
Okay.
is they actually recorded the voices of the tribal people and then played that back to other elephants that weren't actually within the, where they initially made the recording. And all of the elephants reacted in the same way. And that is, they immediately go into like an alert, and move away. And then they become a bit like anxious and then they move away from the noise.
Wow.
Isn't that incredible?
The
And then, of
danger
course,
animals were close.
no, seriously. And then through that, it's also sad in a way, it's really amazing research, but it's sad that, the elephants have to fear us in the first place.
Yeah.
It's such a pity that the humans are the way that we are. Anyway.
Yeah.
So it's just incredible. And that whole thing of, like I said, they can actually distinguish between different ethnicities and how everybody has a different rumble. It's just incredible that they can even do that. And so the big thing about this is that these are not just noises, but this is actually elephant language.
Well, yeah, that's pretty much what it is. Like, isn't any language just noise? But
or rumbles, deep rumbles.
Exactly.
Like when your stomach is rumbling and it
exactly.
tell you that you're
someone's
hungry.
or you're hungry.
Language of food.
This is some precursor type shit, because aren't elephants like 60 million years old or something? And maybe the precursors, the humans that came before, they learned it from them or because of them.
You mean elephants through like a genetic history have learned to talk at this volume so that humans can't understand them?
The reason I'm saying this is because you mentioned that they played this tone to elephants that weren't near these people or near this recording, and they still knew what was up. So obviously there's some genetic understanding going on.
I think you might be right to an extent. It could also maybe mean that this really low frequency, there might be certain levels to it, and maybe one of those levels, just like any language, right? One of those levels means danger, regardless of what it is. Do you know what I mean?
So it's like panicky rumbling or whatever.
Yes. Yeah. So maybe like one specific 20 hertz sound is your rumble means danger. Then another one means danger because it's this tribe. Does that make sense?
That
or
makes
danger,
sense.
It's lions. So that they can actually specify. But either way, the tone of danger means danger. So the elephants know, regardless of what it is, that there is danger and that they must be wary and cautious and move. Now, and one of the interesting things about this is, how often they say that when you see an elephant and it's flapping its ears, it's because it's trying to cool down?
Yeah,
that is partially true. It also just so happens that flapping ears is generally when they're doing the rumbling voice.
Oh.
So that's often why sometimes, if you go, like, we're very privileged in South Africa. We have like the Kruger Park, and it's one of the most incredible nature reserves. And often you'll see elephants in the distance. And those that have babies, often you'll see like the mother will just stand in front and her ears will flap. That's very much a sign of, I'm not cooling myself, bitch. I'm telling you, mind your effing business, because I'm going to rip you a new one if you come towards my child.
Actually, also, I distinctly remember, and I've seen this, there's this YouTube channel that do live shows of someone just driving through the Kruger all day. I've seen many times that whenever there's a little baby elephant, they'll constantly shake their head. And obviously, we as humans attribute that to, they're being playful, they're playing with the big flumpy ears or whatever. Maybe that's them getting used to these rumbles, getting used to picking up this language. Like, they don't understand this rumble, they can't really hear.
You could be very right. Look, it's probably a multitude of things. I mean, it's not to say that head shaking is always this, but you are right. How else are children supposed to learn?
Exactly.
Look, it's just absolutely incredible. And, it really makes me wonder, we're consistently learning new things all the time, about the animals on our planet. in the depths of the oceans and so on and so forth. And you know I'm a huge proponent of Jurassic Park. You know I want this to happen. Now,
Yes.
I don't know if they've done research into if crocodiles and things have this sort of low baritone, alert system, or maybe even rhinos do it. I'm not sure. I'd have to maybe look a little bit into it. But imagine we're able to bring these fascinating, beautiful creatures back, and they have an alert system like that. Imagine able to communicate over kilometers, knowing like velociraptors know,
All I'm going to say is that we have 6 movies now. 6 showing
Listen.
why this is a bad idea.
Listen, it's a great idea, and Elon Musk wants it to happen. Actually, he didn't say that he wants it to happen, but according to Max Hodak, which is his alleged, I think, business partner for Neuralink, that thing we spoke about, I think it was last
fellow
year,
founder, I think, yeah.
with the that chip in the brain, and they can read whatever, read your thoughts or whatever the case is.
Mm-hmm.
He says, and I want to say, and I quote, but I'm going to paraphrase. He says that their company has the technology, the resources, and the money to actually make Jurassic Park happen if they wanted to.
Okay, but let me just interject for a second. Jurassic Park is not also the dinosaurs. Maybe they just want an island which looks like Jurassic Park.
What do you mean? You mean you're talking about from like a plant perspective?
Just the park. Like the buildings and the pens.
No! He specifically mentioned bringing back dinosaurs. And then he even went into detail about it, all right? And he said that they wouldn't be perfect recreations because, just like in the films, Hey, Dr. Wu, they took elements from other animals to fill in the genetic code to create the dinosaurs. Now, it sounds absolutely fantastic. I need these people to do it because I'm all in. But at the same time, when you are messing with genetic code and you are bringing in aspects of genes from other animals to create something that was once extinct and it is therefore no longer an original copy, that's how Jurassic World happens. Not Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, where we have that I've forgotten the name of that dinosaur that camouflages itself because they used like octopus DNA and
oh gosh.
It's not a real dinosaur. That's why I've even forgotten its name.
Well, it became a dinosaur apparently.
No, but this is what I'm saying. So anyway, they say they've got it, that they've got the tech. Now, playing devil's advocate, he could have just said this stuff just to speak about Neuralink again. Basically just to be like, oh, our tech is so advanced. But everybody's like, listen, bitch, you still haven't proven anything. Other than making a glorified, it's not necessarily an ECG, but basically a brainwave monitor. What did you actually do?
Yeah. The thing is, maybe they really do have the tech. They just don't want to come out with it.
No.
We don't know what's going on in the land.
No, listen.
This is just the guy doing damage control.
Let's be real here, okay?
Because he leaked some shit.
If you could make a dinosaur, even one that is 70% of what a real dinosaur would be, you would make so much money. Okay?
See,
and it's not even about the money. I just want to see one. I want to see what a dinosaur looks like. I need to see a real dinosaur before I die. Y'all have about 100 years left, okay?
Okay, so give or take. So if, let's say this Park happens, let's say the first dinosaur is made, it's a stegosaurus, it's a herbivore, what. How much do you think a ticket will cost? Just for entry?
Well, I mean, imagine putting it in a nice enough habitat. See, zoos are awful. I don't believe in zoos, right? So let's think safari. Okay. Let's think safari. Like
so it's one
Park,
big
like we were
island.
talking about with the elephants. Yes. So you make a herd of stegosaurs, and basically, the way that it works is you stay on the island. There are only stegosaurs on the island, so there's nothing that can eat you. Okay, it's just plant herbivores.
Yeah.
And you then have to basically pay for lodging and then a tour guide. So, I mean, in South Africa, on average, if you were to do this for a weekend, it would probably cost you about 10,000 Rand, maybe more,
That
depending on where you go. So I
yeah,
would imagine a
it's
similar cost. It would be
some okay.
transport to the
So
location and then being there. So, look, it wouldn't be cheap,
mhm.
is what I'm getting at. It's not going to be for the average person, rather, unfortunately. Maybe that
So
would come at a later stage. Maybe when they create tiny compsognathus and they take them on like a road trip. Then you charge
okay.
like $20 or like 200 Rand a ticket so you can actually see a real dinosaur. Because I would pay a lot of money to see a real dinosaur.
I know
That's me
you
though.
would.
I'm like a
Uh,
super fan, but honestly, I could imagine maybe like 400 Rand a ticket, and then you go into a hall or something, and then they have like maybe babies and eggs, and maybe one to even pet.
a petting zoo.
I'd rather not because that's a bit cruel because they are animals. But you get what I'm saying though, right? Like maybe
Yeah, yeah,
even
I
just
get that.
a portable center with some of these animals in them. Not a lot, just a little bit. Like I
Yeah.
mean, we went to go watch it was like Avengers, I think the beginning of last year, and that was like 400 Rand a ticket, and that was not worth the money. Okay. And that was even
Yeah,
for kids, it
no
was like 400
cinema
Rand a
is
ticket.
ever worth.
So I mean, I would much
Yeah,
rather pay 400 or 500 Rand to see a dinosaur.
a baby conceptnathus.
Or, well, maybe not necessarily a compsognathus. Like, we're talking about herbivores, right? So,
Okay.
a small-ish herbivore, I guess, because, Stegosauruses would be quite massive. They would grow
Yeah.
quite big. Unless, of course, you breed one purposefully small. I mean, you are using genetics here, so you might as well make a miniature one. Like a miniature schnauzer or a miniature poodle.
Now that you mention it, people will do this. I mean,
Oh, my
you,
gosh.
you
Could
get
you imagine buying a
Yorkshires,
dinosaur in a pet shop?
a teacup stego.
A teacup raptor.
By, gosh, no.
See, this is why.
No.
This is why humans don't have nice things. You could just imagine me being like, no, I need a teacup raptor in my life,
And then that becomes your outdoor pet. Oh no, gosh.
I don't know about outdoor pet, but it would.
It's going to
be
nibble at everyone's ankles.
Well, okay, not a teacup raptor because that's obviously going to eat your fingers and stuff. Okay, it's going to be sharp.
Yeah.
But imagine like a teacup triceratops.
No.
Okay? It's a herbivore.
It's going to like bump you. You're going to have to file
stabs
its,
you every now and again. Oh well.
You have to file its
I mean,
horns down.
People already clip the wings of birds, so I mean, how
Exactly.
is that any different?
Yeah.
Anyway,
I get that.
So
We're digressing.
there is something to do with genetic engineering that I want to talk about. But before we get there, okay, we're going to talk about something that is absolutely ludicrous, and I do not ever want to see this.
Hey, speaking of ludicrous,
yes,
who is
exactly
in the movie. Yeah. What Hans is getting at is we might. Okay.
No.
Okay, so we all know and love the Fast and Furious franchise, don't we?
That's me pretending to throw up, for those of you who can't see the video.
Yeah. Well, they could probably hear that. They'd think you actually threw up, to be fair.
Just a little
Fast
bit
and Furious is absolutely ridiculous, let's be honest.
Yeah.
It's a franchise of racing cars. It started out as illegal racing, then it became heist movies, then it just became random ass superhero movies, or something.
I will say, the original like 2 were actually decent. They were actually pretty good. No, I mean, in the grand scheme, look, I'm really one who doesn't like the Fast and the Furious franchise. But if you compare the trash that is coming out now versus like the first 1 or 2, there's a huge difference. Like the first 1 or 2 kind of had like a story, and it was like a redemption arc, like with the brother coming out of prison and all of this stuff. Now it's just like, let's see how fast we can shoot this McLaren at the top of this building in Dubai.
Okay, it is ridiculous. Okay, I will give you that much. But it's still movies that you watch once and you enjoy. It's not movies that you feel like, oh, you've just wasted time, except for this Hobbs and Shaw crap. That was crap. Anyway, I digress. So, as we all know, as you mentioned, that, McLaren's out of Dubai Towers. The newest one, Fast and Furious 9, not 90 yet. They they have transforming cars, okay, which essentially
Oh, are you
take.
serious? Is this like Transformers now?
No, it's not. It's close, but it's not. So essentially, in the trailer, which is available to anyone to watch, there is this scene where the car just starts flying. It just takes off, and all the headlines is like, "Oh, Fast and Furious is going to space next." And listen, that might be true, bitch. But what about the polar opposite?
But before space, we're gonna go to where, Edwin?
To the Jurassic era.
Just listen. Just no. Okay.
Look. I thought you'd be interested in this, even if just curiosity. So while it's not being explicitly stated, Comic Book, the website asked the longtime director Justin Lin if he would be interested, and short answer is yes. Apparently, he doesn't say no to anything. I think that's why Vin Diesel got his way with the franchise the way he did.
Wait. Look. So Justin Lin wants to do Jurassic World meets Fast
He's
and
open
Furious.
to the idea of.
So what is it going to be? Is it going to be like, hey, bruh, let's drag race the Rex, and then they're gonna what, speed down a mountain? I mean, what?
To be fair, if this ever happens, I think what'll happen is there'll be some portal will open, they'll speed through it, and they'll suddenly be
oh my god
racing on top of a Gigantosaurus's back or something.
No, I can't. I can't.
I bet you it's going to happen.
And then the whole movie will be trying to get enough speed to get back to the future. Is this
basically? Yeah, it's just ridiculous. I thought you'd like this, but actually, Ian made me aware of this, so thanks, Ian, for sending that in.
Look, I'm already disappointed in where the Jurassic World movies are going. All right, so the fact that you want to couple this with a franchise I literally have zero interest in at all is not good news to me. All right. Yeah. We already have Godzilla versus Kong. We don't need Godzilla versus the Fast. Actually, I would watch that. Godzilla versus Fast and the Furious. Because at least I know that all die by the end of the film.
Well,
and then that would be it.
What'll happen is the Power Rangers will come in and they'll all team up to beat some mega lizard.
Power Rangers are bae, okay? So sorry for you.
So is Godzilla.
Yeah, I know, but we're talking about the FF people, the Fast and the Furious people. They must that franchise must just die, okay? Honestly.
Yeah. Can I just end it already?
That's what I'm saying. If it was with Godzilla, Godzilla could kill them all, and that would be the end.
But he won't, because he's a good guy.
No. The time travel from the Fast and the Furious meets Jurassic Park would come into play, so they just reverse it, everything, like Superman.
Oh, there we go.
Anyway, right. This is absolutely ridiculous conversation.
It's so
moving on to something a little bit more sciencey, and this is once again to do with the genetics that I was talking about earlier with regards to Elon Musk's partner and how they might have the tech and so on and so forth. COVID is out there. There are a lot of vaccines all over the world. One of the ones that are the most interesting to me is the Moderna and the Pfizer BioNTech, specifically the Pfizer BioNTech, and that's because it's using the new mRNA tech, whereby they include the protein like instructions for your body to rebuild just the dead protein spike on the COVID virus, within the antibodies of your system. And it uses mRNA for that. And it's absolutely fantastic. It's wonderful. We've spoken about this many times in the past. What is so incredible about mRNA research? And for those who don't know, it's not new. mRNA research has been around for almost about a decade and a half now, maybe even 2 decades. But the COVID vaccine is the first one to actively use it in human population. Now, what's really great about this, and I know I can see you're wondering, where am I going with this? Where am I going with this?
Yeah.
I'm going towards a vaccine for HIV AIDS. How incredible. And,
that's cool.
It's not even just talking about it. It's not even just a hypothetical anymore. There is actually an HIV vaccine that is currently in
It's a thing
phase
now.
1 trials already. And
That's amazing.
apparently it's working, and it has a 97% efficiency or effectiveness.
That's coming
Now,
from zero or nothing.
yes, right? And this is all
Wow.
to do with, again, as we've said before, mRNA technology. And what the
Mm.
vaccine does is it successfully stimulates the production of rare immune cells that are needed to generate antibodies for HIV. And
Mm.
it's absolutely incredible. So there's a little bit more to it than that. I'll read a bit of what I wrote here. So essentially, what the vaccine does is it acts as an immune primer, whereby it triggers the activation of naive B cells via a process called germline targeting. And it's the first stage in a multi step vaccine regimen that they're hoping to produce one day for people. And what
Mm.
it does is it essentially will help create something called broadly neutralizing antibodies, or BNABS, as is the acronym. And
Bnabs.
apparently, yeah, BNABs. So apparently, according to researchers, BNABs is what they are considering the holy grail of HIV vaccine research.
That's amazing.
And it's really incredible. Do you want to know why this is even more incredible? Just in case you might be wondering if it could actually get any better than this, because it can.
Mm.
The same tech is being used to target cancer. Now, not just any cancer, all right? In particular, they're looking at metastatic cancer. So it's the one where,
Okay.
it spreads around the body, right?
Yeah.
And in particular, as far as I understand, and I stand to be corrected, but the research is currently for, I think it was, I'm not, okay, I don't want to mention which one because I might be wrong, but it was one
Hmm.
specific kind of cancer. And the interesting thing about it is that they're also in phase 1 trials for this. And it's effective,
That's amazing.
right? So
That's so cool.
we're heading into an era where one day you might be inoculated against things like HIV and certain cancers just from the get go, from like as a child. Boom, done. You can now live your life and worry free.
I'm
Isn't
just
that
imagining
incredible?
that scene from The Host where they spray whatever gas you have on you and whatever you have, and then suddenly everything goes away.
Well, I mean,
That's
you're
what
not
I'm
wrong.
imagining now.
You're not wrong. So, I mean, with the
Jeez.
exception of breathing it in, you just boop into your arm, and maybe you'd end up with that weird little vaccine circle or whatever. But hey,
Yeah.
then you're free to not worry about HIV and certain cancers. Like, I know that they're already doing incredible. There is already a vaccine for a certain cancer to do with women. I've forgotten the name now, but it's if women have it before the age of, I think it's 21, it prevents them from getting a certain kind of cancer I think in the uterus or in the vagina, something there. I stand
Oh
to be corrected, of
wow.
course.
Mm.
And they've been doing even more studies into it, and they're saying that even people later on in life in their 30s can still take it, and it's still effective.
That's
But
cool.
the fact that we're moving into an era where vaccines can stop things like cancer, sign me up, y'all. Sign
Yeah.
me up.
This this is
Okay.
amazing. And
Yes, it is.
who knew it only took a pandemic for us to get there?
Well, I mean, look, it's not.
Oh,
It's more so along the lines of mRNA research has been around for a long time, as I've mentioned before.
yeah.
It's more so that they were not dragging their heels, but it takes a long time to develop vaccines like this and to establish the technology and to make sure that it's safe for humans and so on and so forth.
Mm.
COVID has accelerated that point because we needed something immediately to try and combat this. So that
Mm.
there's no luxury of waiting another 5 years to make sure. I mean, like I said, it's phase 1 trials at the moment using mRNA tech. Now that's not just because of COVID.
That's
It's just that's the
but
procedure to go through in order to make sure that this can become viable for everybody else. You see?
it's still so good. Yeah.
It's still
Yeah.
incredible though. And this is why we need to not really worry about taking this vaccine. Yes, I am also part of the group who does believe that I would like more research into the long-term effects of these vaccines, because not to say that they were rushed, but they were pushed in order to get us safe from this virus, and really that's more important than the small complications that are currently arising from some of them, in my personal opinion.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very interesting, and I'm looking forward to one day having my one world Bill Gates jab that protects me from everything.
Oh, that'll be amazing. The Illuminati jab.
The Illuminati jab.
Gosh.
Okay, Ed. Now
Oh,
something else. Moving on to a little bit more, something a little bit more different, and that has to do with locations in the world and what would happen if you had
yes.
to dig straight down from where you currently are.
Yeah, so the common for the longest time there's been this trope on media and everywhere that if you dig straight down, you'll just end up in China already.
Yes.
That's usually the big cliche. Turns out there's a website that will actually tell you exactly where you'll pop up. And it's called antipodesmap.com. Now, an antipode is literally that. It's going through a circle and getting through to the other side.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I found this by literally happened chance because I was literally Googling cool website.
Oh my gosh.
Because I was bored, I was waiting for my dad to wake up.
It's more like giving insights into the Gettle process.
Pretty much. And I found this and it's fascinating. Now, I didn't do a lot of the actual checking where you'd pop up. So how it works is in the website, you put your location and it'll tell you on the bottom half of the website where you'll pop up. And I did just home and it's literally just in the sea somewhere. But turns out
I did
you can,
a few other ones.
Yeah. Hans went a little bit further.
I had to. So Edward is talking here about, obviously, so we both live, well, I haven't lived in Benoni for a while now, but we both technically live in Benoni. That's considered our home in the greater Johannesburg area of Gauteng, South Africa. And if you put in like my house, Edward's house, it's all roughly the same area. It comes out into the ocean just above Hawaii. And I thought, that's very interesting. So where does Hawaii go? and because I mean, if it's not us, who else is it? So I did it, and it turns out that it ends up in the northwest district of Botswana. So if there was one day a hyperloop that went straight through the middle of the earth from Botswana all the way through to the other side, it would come out in Hawaii.
That's cool.
And all of a sudden, I want that hyperloop. So
yeah, all of a sudden. That's just cool. I see you also searched Perth.
Yes. So I did the other Australian cities as well, and they didn't really go anywhere. Yeah. But when I did Perth, it landed on the island of Bermuda. And I was like, like this. Okay, Perth is a lovely city and everything, but really it is on the arse end of the country. So this city that is isolated from everyone else. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, to go to the arse end of vanishing ships. Gosh.
Then I also did Buckingham Palace, and this one was a fun one because it basically almost comes out at New Zealand, which is a Commonwealth country. So I just thought that was fun. Then, of course, since I then ended up at New Zealand, I was like, well, where does Auckland take you if you happen to live in Auckland, New Zealand? It takes you to Spain. So it's very interesting how, when you look at the world as a globe, this really illustrates how it's very much of it is a circle.
Yeah.
And how
a sphere.
Actually, there is it's strange. I should have brought in another topic that I discovered weeks ago, but I've put it in our maybe section in another note. And it actually has to do with maps and how there's different names for different maps and how many of them don't actually showcase the sizes of the countries that we see in them.
Yep.
So I've forgotten the name for it, but anyway, I'll link it in the show notes so you guys can just go and have a look at it in any case because, we've basically spoken about it now. But it's just interesting to note that, like, basically, if you had to dig in a straight line through the earth from Auckland, New Zealand, that you'd end up in Spain, of all places.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
Now, speaking of points on a map, Edward found something that is absolutely ridiculous. And no doubt this was from his cool website search.
It was. So,
Giving away
the
all of my
second
damn
website I
trade
found-
secrets, Edward. Now, who wants going to listen to to Gettle anymore when you can just Google cool websites?
if there's anything I've learned, it's that people don't want to do their own searching. So that's why. So the second website I found it's called pointer.com. Now, if you would give this any thought, what would you think it is?
Pointer.
.com. Yes.
That's it. Just pointer.
Exactly.
Oh,
it's
gosh.
POINTER.
I'll be honest with you. The first thing that would come to my mind, and it's got absolutely nothing related to what this is about, is a dog for some reason. You know, like a pointer.
I get that.
I know that's
I
really
get
weird,
that.
but I mean, we always speak about animals and things, so that's just one of the things, I suppose.
Well, what this is a website that detects where your mouse pointer is at any given time, and it brings up an image. I don't know from where. I assume Flickr or some stock image website, and it literally has someone or something pointing directly at your mouse, which is amazing. I know it's something small and it's nothing in the grand scheme of things, but it's so good.
It is ridiculous. So just in case you don't quite get what Edward is saying here, pointer.com knows where your mouse pointer is on the screen, and when you stop moving, there is a random image of somebody pointing at it or touching it. That's it. That is literally the whole point of pointer. And as ludicrous as it is glorious.
It's so good.
Now, actually, I wanted to talk to you about this. Now, Edward mentioned he wasn't sure where the images might come from. Now, if you look at them, these are not like stock images and stuff. To me,
it feels
photos. It feels like an AI crawled social media for fingers pointing. And of course, because if it's set to be publicly available, you know, and you haven't hidden your photos, well, then I guess it's fair game. And that leads me to why you should be careful online and why you should really have your privacy settings in place, because pointer might feature you at some point.
That's the thing. Like, these are candid photos. Like, I've been going through a few of them now, and it's so weird, but it's so good. Well,
pointer.com. If you're listening, we want royalties for this endorsement.
Yeah, thank you. We're literally giving you an ad, okay? The least you can do is send us something.
Well, with that on the mind, I'm going to point you all to the smell of semen.
Oh my gosh.
NSFW.
That's so crass.
I know. Okay, right. So this is an interesting one. Now, in South Africa, and I suppose in most places in the world, if you're lucky enough to live in a city with beautiful trees or flowers, you might often smell a scent wafting through the atmosphere. If perhaps you go for a walk, or if you just live in a wonderful area and it wafts through the windows. As I mentioned, in South Africa, we have the Jacaranda plant. And not only does it look beautiful, but it also smells beautiful when it blooms and it comes out. Now, weirdly enough, I never really thought about this before. I mean, I don't see why I would, because I wouldn't imagine something to just naturally smell like this. But apparently, there is a tree that smells like semen for 2 weeks every year.
The question is, isn't that the entire thing of you are what you eat and your semen smells different depending on that? Like, how would...
Okay, hold
what
on,
is the general smell of semen?
You know, Edward. You know there is there is
an average
smell. Okay, there is a general
a
smell, regardless of what you've eaten for breakfast the night before.
I assume it's my smell. Or
no,
you know?
Okay. Well, I guess many people haven't had the opportunity to smell other people's semen. I mean, neither have I. But you know what yours smells like.
Yes.
Okay. That general smell is what it smells like, and it's a funny thing. I remember years ago, and this is just a anecdote to this. I was in the kitchen in our previous home with my cousin, and he took a glass out of the cupboard, and I saw his face like contort, and he just put it down, and he was like, He said, listen, cuz, there's something wrong with these glasses. And I was like, what? What's wrong with them? And he was like, just smell this. So he gave it to me. And look, these had been freshly washed. Okay.
I've had that before.
So I put my nose into it and I was like, and then I just looked at him and he just looked at me.
Yeah.
And I was like, it smells like sperm. And he was like, yes.
Yeah. I've actually had that before. I completely forgot about that.
Okay. There's a reason why. There is a reason why. Okay.
Okay.
Now, back to the tree, because this all relates to the tree at the same time. This is the whole point of the Semen Tree, which is actually called the Pyrus calleryana, which is quite a nice name. Known as the ornamental pear in Australia or the calorie pear, Bradford pear in the United States. Now, the Bradford pear, poor Brad. Anyway,
yes,
it's actually a beautiful tree. It has
it is
it's white covered, basically with white petals, and each flower has 5 petals. It's really really nice, and it's actually indigenous to China and Vietnam. Anyway, back from that. The smell. So the reason why that unusual smell comes about is because they've obviously looked into the tree, but also in general to do with semen, is because of certain chemicals, namely trimethylamine and dimethylamine. And these are essentially forms of ammonia.
Yeah.
Okay. And ammonia is often in cleaning salves. All right. And guess what else is in sperm? Ammonia. So it's a very interesting topic because essentially that unique smell is like a very soft ammonia smell.
Wow.
Isn't that interesting? So
that's actually super interesting.
I love the realization in your face just now when I was like that freshly washed cup from like Sunlight Liquid or whatever, and why it has that smell.
That smell.
Well, now you know. It's good. It's not your imagination. You as a man, you know what it smells like, okay? Because you've been enjoying yourself for a long period of time, and everybody has smelled and tasted their own, okay? If you haven't, you're lying. So everybody knows the smell. You know it. You know it. So it's interesting. It's just very interesting.
That just proves that semen is as dirty as it looks, because I must confess, I don't like the look of it at all. It's dirty. It goes everywhere. It gets sticky. Anyway, but that's beside the point.
I don't know why yours is dirty.
Clean.
Mine is lush.
It's tight. It's actually one of the cleaner things, and it even smells like, I dare say, soap.
Well, no,
that's how clean it is.
Well, I mean, it smells chemically, right? I guess that's the way that you could describe it. I mean, I wouldn't say it smells like soap. Anyway, it's just an interesting thing. And if you're wondering why the plants do this, or the trees do it, they do it because of the way all the other trees do it. It's to attract insects. So with that in mind, it's probably a good idea to not be ejaculating outdoors. Because if insects are attracted to this tree, y'all must know
you're gonna have some wasps on your ass.
They're gonna be coming to your man juices if you're not careful.
My only question is, who walked past this tree, some scientist, and thought, I need to investigate. I need to put some time and effort into the smell of this tree, because to me it sounds...
Literally any man. I mean, he just this imagine the scenario. Okay. First of all, I guess, we live in a much better age. 2021. Talking about this, there isn't any of this. Oh, how do you know what it smells like? Like, listen, bitch, I have a penis, and
that's how
I know what it smells like. Obviously, so you could imagine maybe in like the 1800s or something, some guy walking around and being like, why does that smell awfully familiar? And would probably smell it and immediately look down and be like, I didn't miss, did I?
Like, look at your hands that I wash, that I clean up.
Yes, exactly. Oh, my goodness. So now, from that, Ed, I have to ask you, I mean, fine, we're talking about washing and, your clothes and apparel and that. Would you wear PornHub branded apparel?
I would. Easy.
Why?
If they would ever sponsor this show, I'd wear the hell out of their t-shirts. And just generally, I don't mind the brand. Also, it seems to be memed out of hell nowadays. So if you wear it now, people will just be like, "Oh, cool dude," and walk past. So I wouldn't even feel embarrassed.
Okay, I guess that's the point. It's so commonplace now. Everybody recognizes it, and the sound. Because if anybody's on TikTok or Instagram Reels, you'll know what we're talking about. Look, it's interesting because I guess ignorance. I should have imagined that they would have branched out at some point in time or the other. Now, maybe I never noticed because I'm not somebody who likes to wear branded items. I just don't. I don't like if you can see the brand of something that I'm wearing, I wouldn't buy it. I don't like that. I don't like people to know what I'm wearing. I don't know.
Unless it's just some Pokemon t-shirt.
Okay, listen, I had to do that for like brand deals.
Okay.
No, I wore that because they sent it my way, and you guys know I love Pokemon, and I had the goodies, and I was like, the least I can do is show it off,
Yeah.
But
anyway,
that also was given to me. I ain't going to be walking into a shop and I say that, but I did buy a Pokemon shirt in Japan, but only because there was no logo on it. It was just a whole lot of tiny little Pikachus forming a pattern. See, to
be fair, that looks good.
But that's what I'm saying. See, that attracts me. Okay, anyway, back to why I'm talking about this.
Yeah.
Is because so PornHub is they've collaborated with some design firm in Berlin called Namilia, and in so doing, they've created a whole lot of like short sleeves and like hoodies and clothing that I guess the generation currently likes to wear, or kind of like Edward's look right now if you're watching the video. And of course, it's tastefully PornHub. Like you can see the orange line, that kind of thing, and maybe like the odd, like they have like a logo thing. Anyway,
they have that thing, yeah.
Yes,
oval thing.
Yes. So in addition to that, though, they've also created a spray paint, which is that PornHub yellow. And
just the yellow.
Yeah, like that like yellow orange. Yeah, as far as I understand, it's basically whatever the logo color is, and I made a spray paint out of it.
That's a good color, though.
Look, it is. It's just interesting to me. I mean, like imagine spray painting something, and somebody's like, "What is it?" You're like, "It's PornHub yellow."
Like, what else should I say?
like whatever, bitch. I'm cool,
Yeah, like let me spray paint my controller in peace.
Thank you. That's exactly what I was gonna say. Because Edward loves doing DIY stuff, so I'm thinking maybe we add this to our ever-growing list of things that we want to buy and never do, and then you can do this and spray paint your controller to be PornHub yellow. Hey,
I would not mind.
I'm very keen on this, actually, like legit keen. Okay, anyway, right,
yeah.
back to this whole thing.
More to add to the list.
The crux of it is it's a design company working with PornHub, and the reason why they specifically also selected graffiti is because they believe that artists who graffiti things are always in a voyage of self-exploration and expression, just like porn. Whatever floats your boat.
I guess.
I mean, whatevs. Either way, the crux of this is that we're getting PornHub yellow spray paint, and we're going to spray paint all the things.
Yeah. Spray paint a desk, maybe a mic or two.
Oh gosh, I don't know. No, you don't. You touch those Yetis, okay? we'll spray paint. Oh, you know what? Do you have a spare controller actually? Because this would be quite fun.
I have my purple one, which is faded black now, which looks amazing.
Yes, there we go.
And I have my dark Series X one.
Well, maybe do the Series X. I think
don't we have a spare Series X one somewhere?
That's fine. We'll make a plan. Let's not worry too much about it. Now, talking about toys, you found something from Lilly Allen. Yet another celebrity who's decided to get into the market of pleasure.
But this one actually looks like it actually will add instead of detract from the entire market.
You mean versus whatever Gwyneth Paltrow is currently pushing?
Please,
right?
yes.
The vibrator that doesn't look like a vibrator, but looks like a vibrator.
Yes, that one. The dual-bladed vibrator. So Lilly Allen, she's partnered up with a company called Womanizer.
Oh, that song
to
from Britney
make.
Spears. Womanizer, womanizer.
I know,
Okay,
that's
anyway.
exactly what I thought. To create the Liberty, which is a very, very tiny pocket-sized sex toy, essentially. I don't want to say vibrator because while it is a vibrator, it's similar to the one we discussed a few weeks back pertaining to the male Fleshlight, which uses
The
suction
air one.
and
Oh.
air. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So the Liberty, okay, and all of
I
these
love that
celebrity
name.
things.
Do you know what it makes me think of? I know I'm changing it, but Liberty Bell. And I think isn't she an actor? Isn't she one of the superheroes from The Boys?
Liberty, yeah, she's that
right?
innocent one, isn't she?
Yeah, I think so. I stand to be corrected, but anyway, okay, great.
No,
great name.
Is that her actual name or her superhero name? I can't remember. It's been a while. Anyway.
I don't know. It was like Starlight or something, but Liberty Bell. I've just got that on my mind, and I need to know where that's from now. If it's not from The Boys,
Gosh.
Anyway, okay. Lilly Allen.
Yeah, anyway.
Hey.
Yeah.
Illustration. Lilly Allen's Liberty.
Well
done, Lilly Allen. Well done.
Life.
No,
she's cool, by the way. I like her music.
If I was still editing episodes, I would cut that out because we haven't been paid for that segment.
No, that was definitely unpaid. Anyway, as we all know, celebrity stuff always gets overhyped, and the same is with this one. So, on the webpage for it, it's described as it claims to. And I quote, take intense orgasms beyond the bedroom with their patented pleasure air technology.
Oh, gosh.
Now,
wait, hold it. They patented PAT technology.
Yeah, it's the PAT technology. That's what it is. How on brand. So what it is essentially pulsating airwaves, but not forward.
Wait,
which
hold
is the same
up.
as...
We had air cycling waves for men. Now this is air suction for women.
Yes, but this is specifically suction. So I'm not sure exactly how it works. The website doesn't go into it, but they have
with
cute
air.
graphs and stuff. Eh?
With air, Edward.
Yeah, it works with air. Some reviewers, actually, I found a review, which I didn't link now for some stupid reason, that specifically went into how it feels like the real act of cunnilingus. And they've never experienced this before. And obviously, coming from a sex toy, that's quite a feat.
Maybe she's just had bad cunnilingus.
Maybe.
I'm sorry, I'm being devil's advocate. I don't know.
Bad. I don't know. It comes with 6 intensity levels, which ensures orgasms are always unique. I don't know. I mean, 6 after 6 times it won't be that unique, will it? It comes with a sleek protective case, and it's literally pocket size. I will say it looks amazing. It looks like a little droplet thingy. It is IPX. No.
For those of you who are not watching the video, I just brought up my bra case from my AirPods Max when Edward was talking about cases.
And it looks so bad. Anyway, it's IPX7 waterproof, so you can take it into your bath with you, or I think IPX7 is up to 2 meters.
That to me is interesting because we all know that fornication in water is actually not pleasurable.
Yeah, it takes away the lube.
Yes, but then again, I suppose, and also, but hang on, if I stand to be corrected as well, you shouldn't really be pushing soapy water up your vagina either. So is this just doing the clitoris then?
As far as I know, it's not going inside at all. It's literally clitoral stimulation.
Okay, that's perfect. Perfect. Oh, of course it would be. It's cunnilingus. Yeah. Okay.
Yes. It does offer up to 120 minutes of continuous pleasure on one single charge, which is huge. Coming from stuff like the cock ring of last week, which we don't even know the charge of. This is actually massive. 120 minutes. It has a magnetic pen charging cable, which means it's essentially wireless charging. even though it's not.
MagSafe,
then
y'all. It's
also-
everywhere now.
It's literally everywhere. And it's fast charging. So if you did
Oh, I
forget to
love
charge
that.
it,
That's
you can...
yes, and see, that's fantastic because everybody knows when the mood strikes, you don't want to wait. You want it now.
So what you can do is, if you see it's flat, you just pop it onto its magnetic little thing. You quickly watch a 10-minute video to get yourself going, and then you take it off and go to the bathroom or whatever you do.
Or get a snack or something. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Or
Get a snack.
No, start
Some
running the
cucumber. Already there, yeah.
Yeah.
So start warming the shower.
I mean, it's waterproof.
And yeah, it comes in 4 colors, of which I must admit the powder blue and lilac looks sexy. It looks premium.
Yeah.
Now, it sounds like I'm
Beautiful.
selling this thing, which I'm not because it's super expensive as well.
Oh, is it?
$99 US.
Oh, that's
Which
not
is-
expensive.
I don't know, man. That's about $2,000 at the
That's
moment.
not expensive. Do you know how much a
That's-
Fleshlight is in South Africa? The average one.
Okay, how much is the average one?
It's like $3,500.
That's not so bad.
What? We're talking about a piece of silicon that does nothing versus Lilly Allen's Liberty that is waterproof, it charges, it has vibration modes, it's sleek, it has a bag, and you're
For
telling me this
$99.
is expensive.
Okay, if you put it in context, I guess it makes more sense. I don't know. It's for me something that only stimulates the top shouldn't be that expensive because I've seen clitoral stimulators for like $50. So
Say what now?
yeah, if you go to womanizer.com, they even have cheaper ones.
So now I'm curious. Is
Yeah.
this PET, paid pleasure
Yeah.
air technology that they're talking about legit, or is this just Lilly Allen tax?
That's the thing. I don't know, but the reviews seem to laud this thing. It's getting rave reviews from everywhere on the website. Obviously, the website will only show the good ones.
Personally, it would be so incredible if she actually had a hand in designing it. Do you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of the time,
Yeah,
when
it's just tacked on
celebrities-
name.
yes, when they endorse products or if they release something, it's just some generic Chinese product with their brand slapped on it.
Yeah,
Now, if she actually legitimately took the time and the effort to help design and create this, I would be very impressed.
yeah.
Very impressed.
That's the thing. Say what you will about Gwyneth Paltrow, but we know she's been involved in 100% of that process.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
And that's the thing about this. I don't know. There's no way of knowing at all. Her face is all over the website for this thing. She's talking about it apparently. And yeah, it looks good. That's all I think.
Okay, cool. Well, look, okay, now with this in mind, okay,
Yes.
and talking about cunnilingus, you
Yeah.
have found ways to keep masturbation fresh. Do
Yes.
tell, Edward. Do tell.
Oh, excuse me. So the thing is, last week we touched
Is this
on...
is this for men and women?
It's mostly for women, but I
Okay,
think
perfect.
many of this can be attributed to,
Well, I mean,
men as well.
we're kind of simple. Like,
That's true.
let's be real here. It doesn't take much for us to get going and be done.
and
you
just
know?
be done. Yeah. Yeah, so I think no matter what you do, you can always keep it fresh if you're a male, except for maybe the fact that it always feels the same. That's why you need the fancy air vibration 3000 or whatever it was called.
Actually, I don't know. Hey, I would maybe I wouldn't hesitate to disagree a little bit. I think we're such simple creatures that as long as it feels good, it doesn't matter if it's exactly the same every day.
Maybe.
You know what I'm saying?
Or rather, let me put it this way, as a counter argument. Personally, in personal experience, it's happened to me that I've been super horny, okay? And then I went and did my thing. And I just couldn't finish and get into the right mindset because it wasn't enjoyable.
Okay, so
maybe not.
I am
don't
with
know.
you on that one. I have felt exactly the same way. However, what changed it, Edward?
What's changed it? What's your
sex toy?
Yeah,
Yes. No.
That's true.
Listen. No.
That's very,
listen.
very
Listen.
true.
Listen. Remember a couple of episodes back, we spoke about how if you're using something and maybe you get used to it, right?
Yes.
We've been using these things for our hands for like
For
30
decades.
years. They are
Yeah.
done, finished. We need something else.
Maybe a new position will help in that fact.
With your hand.
I don't know.
No.
I don't know. That's why I'm saying this is mostly attributed to women.
No, but look, but you see what I'm getting at is you currently, you have a partner.
Yeah.
A long-term
Yes.
partner. You're getting married at the end of the
Yes.
year. You're
Yeah.
used to a particular kind of
Feel.
feeling. Yes.
Yes.
So when you don't have that, of course, while your body's going to be like, listen, bitch, no.
Something's gotta
is
give.
not. This is not great. We're done here. We've lost interest. Bye bye libido. Okay. Now, I guarantee you, if you had to get yourself something like the Fleshlight that I mentioned earlier, I'm
Mhm.
pretty sure you'd be able to go. I really do, because the sensation
Likely.
might not be identical to what you're now used to. You know, you're used to like the diamond level, platinum, right at the top.
But it's
But
it's
you know,
up
you're gonna
there,
come down
you
a bit to
say.
gold and silver, but that's still better than nothing.
For a second, when you mentioned the diamond, I was like, "Wow!" I was like, "I can kind of see the resemblance." Anyway,
Okay.
we're digressing mega. So for women, maybe sometimes, or no, the thought just occurred to me. I'm digressing again.
I like it.
But
This is just us, though. Keep going.
Yeah, so maybe the way, even if we are simple as men, and let's say women as well, they're not simple, but it gets old if you do it the same way.
Yeah.
The mere fact, the mere thought of doing something in a different position or different area of the house or something, maybe that'll trigger a sense of freshness.
Do you mean like the raciness? Like I could be caught at any moment.
Oh, I guess if you're into that kind of thing, yeah, I'll do it in the apartment hallway, and let's see.
No, maybe not. Maybe that's a little. I mean, I was thinking maybe a little
too
bit.
much.
I was thinking maybe a little bit tamer than that. Just kind of like.
Or like mom and dad can come home any
You
minute.
keep the window shades open so the neighbors across the way, if they happen to look, would see.
Oh, I get that.
You see what I mean,
Yeah.
right? Not in a jeez.
like go out into the open. Okay. See, I'm immediately thinking PornHub and stuff, which is not super real.
What is interesting about what you're saying now, and I've just had a quick glance through your list, is that some of that is actually on here, and that the whole changing of position, whereby I see you have here that like lying on your back is the obvious natural position for almost everybody.
Yes.
Right. But then towards the bottom there, you've got like doggy. So, that goes, I would say that goes for both. So like imagine, speaking from a male perspective, if you're used to like doing it in the shower or whatever, like the whole time you're standing. But I would imagine if you had to maybe get on your knees in the shower, it could make a bit of a difference. Look, just as an example, you get what I'm saying here, right? Even that general change in position would make your mind switch on a little bit differently.
Easily, yeah. That's my thoughts behind it anyway. And
also,
and for many, yes.
I just wanted to say, and I'm sorry, I don't know if I'm skipping ahead or whatever. I'm sorry, but I see you've got mirrors here, and I just want to say you've got the thing that says like looking at yourself as hot. I don't know if this is TMI for the podcast, but that's like my thing.
What is? That's the thing. So that's your thing, okay? It's not really mine, but there is something to be said about the fact that the intimacy of you and you alone is strong, and many people they've never experienced that in their lives because they think it's a weird thing.
This is so funny. It's just like it's perpetuating being forever alone.
No, it's not. It's perpetuating
because it's like you don't have anybody with you, so you gotta love yourself.
But you can love yourself even when you are with someone.
Okay.
And that's the thing. It shouldn't be this topic of, as soon as marriage life starts, it's all over, buddy.
No, that means you now have a mirror on the ceiling.
No. The thing about that is I'll never trust it.
Because you're worried that it's going to fall.
I'll live in perpetual fear that it's going to fall. I do love the idea of the floor to. Oh, sorry, I'm bumping the mic. The idea of floor to ceiling mirrors, though. I love
for like
that
cupboards
idea
and
a
stuff.
lot.
I actually have that in my room here. It's actually really nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's in one of the stories. One of the stories Ian and I have written together. One of the characters have an entire wall of floor to ceiling mirrors, and it's amazing. I love that idea. Anyway,
That's amazing. Okay, sorry. Yeah. So
yeah,
let's go through this list quickly, and then we can carry on talking.
Yeah. So the idea behind this list is for women to feel fresh after they've done it, because many women, they do it in one single way, like in bed or on their backs. Now this list goes through the back, as you said, and through the usual things, including the mirrors. But what I found fascinating about this is that they also mention that what the certain positions are good for. So, such as the back thing, it's actually very good for folks who are bigger bodied, folks who can't really stretch that far or need to who always try to be uncomfortable while they're stimulating. Sometimes just getting used to the fact that being on your back is also sexy and also hot can go a long way. Now, they call it the basic on your back position, and that's what I'm just calling it as well. Then they also have the lazy solo lover, which is basically just... this is basically the one you have when you're on your bed, either leaning against the wall or over a bunch of pillows. And for all intents and purposes, this is the one that you use to really stimulate the G-spot.
I would say this is probably... It's the reason why I say the lazy solo is because it's just the easiest position. Like if you're already sitting reading a book,
yes,
and the mood strikes, you don't really have to
exactly
do much.
50
you're
Shades,
in a position.
boom, bang.
Yeah.
This is this one, and it also states that you're closer to your lady bits if you do it in this position. So I don't know if it's also as good for the, and I'm saying in air quotes, bigger bodied folks, but I suppose this one will work just as well. But apparently, the way you're reclined in this position is very good to stimulate the G-spot, because it's your body is convex when you do this, but while your body is convex, your torso area is actually concave, which means it's outwards compared to your body, which is inwards, so and that will obviously enable you.
Could people make love that way?
They could.
Might be a bit difficult.
I think they could,
because you'd have to really arch your back, right?
Yes,
which is great.
So,
because it's called the cobra in yoga.
Oh well, there you go. Speaking of yoga, the next one is called the flick and fly, and that's basically the yoga position. That's the lotus position in yoga.
Okay, wow.
Which is where you sit flat on the ground, with your feet touch your soles touching each other, and it basically tenses up all your floor muscles.
That makes sense though, because when you're with your partner, she can put her legs around around you, and then that makes sense. I guess
so.
Yeah,
I guess so.
That makes sense.
And as I said, what this does is it tenses up all your floor muscles, and the list I found is they basically mention that orgasms are a series of muscular spasms, which it basically is. Obviously,
the best kind of spasm.
Ejaculate.
The best kind.
Yes. And
the only kind worth having, because any other muscle spasm is so painful.
Yeah. It really is, to be fair. Let me put it this way. If you are in the gym and you're busy working your bicep and you touch your bicep, there is this link that happens, which makes you more aware of the muscle being worked. This is the same. It makes you feel
hot.
It's going to make you feel hot.
Come on, think about it. Look, anybody who's been to the gym, anybody who knows the pump feels good. That's swole.
It does.
You know?
It actually does, yeah.
Well, that's why it feels good when things down there are.
When you're pumping.
Engorged.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, anyway.
And then it's the mirror, which is basically
Which
just looking at yourself.
We've basically spoken about already.
But the idea behind this, besides it looking hot, and which is a point I added, not they added, is so you can sit in front of the mirror and see yourself experimenting. Maybe with the way you're tapping, with the way you're stroking,
It's
different
with the
rhythms,
way,
essentially.
with the way you move.
Yeah. It's meant for you as a learning thing, but
yeah.
as I said, I added the fact that it looking at yourself is hot. It's sometimes a very good thing. Moving on, there's the on your stomach position, which is literally just laying instead of on the bed reclined or on in front of the mirror sitting down in a lotus position, you're just on the bed on your stomach. Now, this one is akin.
Is it really comfortable though? I mean,
I would not think so.
You see, look, I mentioned this because I have bought a massager recently, as I mentioned several times before, and I often get my back massaged in the evenings. And obviously, I've got to lie down for that. Now, I don't have a massaging table, so there's no real place for my head to go, I suppose. And I found that, of course, if I'm on my stomach and so on and so forth, like the neck pain from being in one direction for too long is very uncomfortable.
Yeah, it is. I wouldn't find it comfortable at all. But like when I sleep, I'm on my back straight. I'm one of those number 7 guys. Whenever you see the guides and they ask, "Oh, which number are you?" I'm the guy that blanks while I sleep, because it's so uncomfortable any other way. And even pleasuring myself, I could not imagine that if I were a woman either. But this website, they say that it's for people who enjoy grinding before the act or as a oh man, I'm blanking now. But what you do before you go full in.
Okay.
It's people who like that kind of thing.
Look,
they will probably love this
the next one for me is just hilarious. The way that you've got it there, the deep dildo squat.
That's what it's called on the website as well.
The reason why that's so funny to me is because of that previous episode where we were talking about accidents. Oops, I fell. So,
Yeah, fell into this.
Oops, I was doing squats and I didn't realize that there was this dildo on the floor. Oops,
And you just directed a PornHub episode on this. Congratulations. I've seen that one as well. So what this is I don't think this is as much of a new position as anything, because if you are an owner of a sex toy with a suction end, chances are that you will have used this position.
The other interesting thing about this to me is this is the female on top position.
Yes, that's essentially exactly what it is.
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, in the bit, they also attribute this bit to the side wall. If you're less flexible, if you have knee issues, you can always put it on a seat, a chair, or maybe even the side of your shower, and do it that way, which differs in. Which is a very
but
position
that goes into the next one though. Technically,
yeah, such as doggy. So if you put it on the wall, then you do
best. There's nothing better.
So many people, they love playing with their butts. They love the butt stuff. Okay, and turns out that if you put a plug in there and go on on all fours and just stimulate yourself that way with maybe your right hand or your left hand while you're on your knees and the other hand is supporting you. This is also a form of mega stimulation, apparently. I'm not sure which part of the vagina this will stimulate that much more than others. Maybe it's just a general thing.
Maybe it pushes pressure. Because you fill in one cavity, so it actually pushes it. It makes pressure, and then when you go in from the vagina side, it's actually like more contact, possibly.
That's possibly it. To be fair, I wouldn't know honestly, but yeah, that's the second to last point, and the very last point is called the bathtub and spray.
Yeah. Anybody who's ever been in a bath and who has never taken the shower head to do things with is a liar.
Well, they actually don't mention that one. They go particularly into reclining back into the bathtub and just enjoying yourself. This is how many women find out that they are squirters versus normal ejaculators. And this is the reason for this is, I guess, they also mention that this is where most women will have started out by figuring out their bodies and such, because obviously you bath every day.
Yes. Well, that's the hope.
Yes. But they also just lightly mention that the detachable shower head does make a difference and it's worth trying out. It should be noted.
Oh, come on. It feels great.
When you use this with the water pressure and everything, it's good to give yourself a good break, because spraying water, especially chlorinated water, onto your bits, it can get in there and that can cause an infection. And that's just what I want to mention.
Specifically if you have a vagina, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, they say it's a perfect recipe for an orgasm. And maybe it is. Maybe if you've started out this way and you forgot and you've only been doing it in fancy ways, maybe go back to your basics. Go back to the bath, enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's why I wanted to mention that last bit. And yeah, at the end of the day,
that wonderful recipe in mind.
Ooh, yeah, there we go.
We come to the end of NSFW. Sorry, I figured I'd just try and save you there for a second, because like
at the end of the day,
going from what we were talking about to nothing, you know. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's exactly it.
I enjoyed this episode because
it was a good episode.
It's actually, I know we had the unedited one a few weeks back. This is like a legit unedited one though. We haven't had any interruptions. Yeah. We haven't had any hardware failures. I double and triple checked
which we know of
before. Yes, that we know of. So this was good. Yeah. Well, this is the end of Giddle 52, Season 2, Episode 10. Thank you for those of you who submitted some really great things, some topics that we love. We always adore hearing from all of you. And I'm looking forward to next week now. I have to now get some more entertainment things in, because I didn't have much to speak about today, but...
Don't worry. I think next week will be a little bit jam-packed in the reviews department as well for both of us. So.
Yes, that's right, because we have things in the wings that are finally going to come to fruition.
Things in the wings.
Things in the wings.
I love that. I love that saying.
Alrighty then. Okay, Ed. And for our wonderful listeners, thank you so much for tuning in once again. We hope you all have a magnificent week ahead. And we look forward to seeing you all again next week. Ciao.
Bye.